Waterwight, Book 1, Chapter 10. What else do you know about the event or whatever happened? Celeste asked Orville after several more hours of flight. Flying was getting easier each time she leapt from the ground, and she wondered if it was a secret power she had possessed her whole life. Life ended for many and changed for those who survived. There was no time for preparation, no time for speculation, no time. He faltered, and Celeste wondered if her unusual new friend had lost family as well. She knew nothing about how frog families functioned. I remember nothing. Rien, nada. Her voice filled the silence. Noise and shaking, that's about it. And then 3 or 4 years just going through the motions at the children's home. No one would talk about what happened. We never left the property the whole time I was there. Now that I think about it, we were like prisoners. Orville regained his composure and continued. The event was catastrophic. It left a fissure beyond imagination. From this great opening, the big water has sprung and continues to spring, causing destruction and releasing powers. Celeste's eyes grew wide at the thought. But so much has disappeared, she said. People, places, things. Where'd they all go? No one knows. Most who survived have been too afraid to explore. All of the old ones are gone on this side, all but one old woman, and the young do as they are told by an elder young girl in the house closest to the pond. They are told to remain in their homes to avoid the dangers. Only the hunters go beyond the village, but only to aid survival. Those at the children's home on the other side are no different from other survivors. They are shaken, uncertain, broken. But you, Paloma, you are not broken. Then it's not all bad, right? I mean, look at you. You can fly, and you saved my life, and I can fly too. And apparently, I also have some pretty amazing abilities to communicate with things. No offense. And who knows what else? I suppose you are correct. Some good has come from the bad. Despite your losses, you have chosen to take action. You will make an excellent teacher, Cel. He stopped himself from saying her name. Paloma, she corrected him. It's going to be weird for me, but I understand why I'll need to hide some things about myself. Old Man Massive thinks I need to stop the big water and said something about a key, but I honestly don't have a clue. Is it really the only land left with people? On this side, yes. Soon the other side, which is already dying, will be covered as well. Perhaps I was sent to you to help you find this key. I will do whatever I can. Celeste thought about the lonely people at the children's home and the animals who had helped her to escape. The animals and Old Man Massive had told her she must go to this side, and she couldn't come up with any reason to question their motives. I told them I'd be back, she whispered, wondering if it might already be too late. She had lost all sense of time since running away. Each day, how many days had it been? Seemed to pass in a blink and encompass an eternity. Only the rising and setting of the sun was routine, but even that seemed to be peculiar somehow. Nothing felt or looked normal anymore. You said the other side would be covered soon. How soon is soon? I cannot say, but if you are meant to return, it will happen. Peut-être our new powers have a purpose. Yeah, maybe. She could always hope. So, is it just me, or are the days and nights changing somehow? Oui, I have wondered this myself since you entered my dreams. My theory is that with the tremendous volume of water covering the planet so quickly, the rotation has been thrown off balance. And if the water keeps growing? Celeste's emerald eyes grew wide. Then I fear our days of worry will end, ma petite. The two were quiet as the bright sky turned to dusk. Celeste could sense they were nearing their journey's end. She kept up with Orville, and the two made their final stop for the day on a small hilltop. Wait! She called to the doves as they continued their flight south. Let them go. They know their way home. You mean they flew all the way to Old Man Massive just to guide me back here? She was stunned by the idea. It explained why they had been exhausted on the return flight. The mountain spirit has a name. Orville was amused. Yes, so you see, Paloma, we must believe you are needed here. Humbled by Orville's trust in her, she could find no words for a reply. She watched the doves until they dipped out of sight below another low hilltop. The village is just beyond that rise. We will rest here tonight. You should eat something. Celeste was famished. Orville's last meal had turned her stomach, but she'd have to get used to her traveling companion's eating habits. She rummaged through her pack for a can of food and offered some to Orville, who politely declined. We will have another challenge to face when we arrive, he said. They will be suspicious of you, yes, but even more so of me. Other than the doves who watch over a silent girl, there are no companion animals in the village. If I am to be your, how you say, your pet? He sounded uncomfortable saying the word. Then I must fend for myself. I must not present a burden to the village. I too must arrive with useful powers to prevent being banned, or worse. Tell me you're a hunter, and if they already have hunters, I'll tell them since you can fly, you can get to places their hunters can't go. Would that work? I mean, could you catch things without swallowing them? He finished for her. Yes, I believe I could, though it's never occurred to me before. Are there many villages left? Celeste was uneasy about how little she knew of anything on this side. There may be others on what remains of the land, he said. Then you could be a messenger, she mused aloud, trying to think of every possibility for making her friend valuable to the community. Orville hesitated before responding. Offer only one thing. That will tell us much about the condition of the village. Celeste nodded while considering her own offering. What if they already have a teacher? The old feeling of panic crept into her heart. When she panicked, she lost control. When she lost control, she felt useless. It was a feeling she first experienced as a child after falling off her bicycle and breaking her hand. I can't do anything. She had stomped her feet and cried pitifully to her parents, slapping the cast on her right arm. Is your other hand broken? Her father had asked. Well, no, but it's not the one I use. She had looked at her father as if he were an idiot. Then let's see if we can figure out how you might use it, he suggested, and for the next several weeks her parents helped her to master simple tasks using the hand she thought was useless. From their loving lessons, Celeste's self-confidence grew, and so did her desire to solve more complex problems. Her parents would laugh with delight each time she completed a jigsaw puzzle and would reward her with increasingly challenging games. Orville didn't allow her panic to escalate. From what I have seen of the village, you will be unique. Darkness filled the clear sky, and Celeste searched for the Big Dipper. There he is! She pointed to the 7 stars in the northern sky. Qui est là? Orville followed her gaze. My father. When we'd go camping, he'd tell me he was the Big Dipper, and I was the Little Dipper. He said he'd always watch over me. She had made a vow not to cry anymore, so with great effort, she looked at the Great Bear constellation and smiled. That makes you both dove and bear, peaceful and powerful. Yeah, said Celeste. She could feel her confidence return. She liked the idea of being someone with polar powers. It made her feel balanced. Celeste continued to watch the flickering stars while Orville scanned their surroundings. Moments later, he hopped between the bushes and Celeste. His sudden movement startled her, and she nearly leapt off the ground when, from the bushes, a boy of about 10 appeared. Whoa, he said, retreating into the bushes too quickly and tumbling backward in the process. He struggled to escape, but his clothing caught on the tangled shrubbery. It's okay, shouted Celeste. We won't hurt you. Orville stepped aside as she ran to the edge of the bushes and looked down at the frightened boy, whose pale blue eyes were wide behind a mess of auburn hair. He didn't move a muscle. What's your name? Celeste's voice was gentle, but the boy continued to stare at her as if rooted to the branches holding him captive. She reached out her hand to help him escape, and still he didn't move. Well, are you going to stay there all night? She teased. You can see me? The boy asked, scrunching up his face. Of course I can see you. Why wouldn't I be able to see you? You're practically glowing under these stars. The boy said nothing, but took her hand. What's your name? She asked again. Chimney Maximilian McDade, he announced. He giggled, letting out a high-pitched squeak, and giggled again. Celeste looked from the boy to Orville and burst into laughter. Celeste could tell Orville was smiling too, and the 3 let down their guard for a moment under the twinkling sky. The shifter lost the frog's scent when the breeze shifted near the shoreline, and its night vision was poor. Angry, exhausted, and hungry, it killed and consumed several rodents before nesting for the night. It would find the girl the next day. That ends chapter 10 of Waterwight, Book 1.